Let's go ahead and get started. Yeah. So again, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and taking the time to sit in on today's digital sales training and conversation. Hopefully, as we go through some of the details you're able to see in the email that we sent, we'll be talking about first-party data. And we'll also discuss some of the different party data as well as second and third party. But you'll be able to take today's message and really understand the importance that is behind it as you have the conversations with advertisers, partnerships, clients, and then if it falls directly in the space that you are all currently focusing on, maybe help educate and fine tune some of the marketing ideas that you're trying to execute. So before we get into this, as always, if you will check into the chat, I'm going to go ahead and send the link there for you for today's Amazon gift card giveaway. As a reminder, you do have to be here to claim it. So at the very end, make sure that you are able to raise your hand and say that you're here. And as well as make sure that you're logged in under your work email. So that way we have that for you. So, okay. So yeah, let's go into the agenda. As I mentioned, there is that link. It is in the chat as well. If you have questions, you can shoot it to the Q&A, and then something that I could either answer over on the webinar today or in via chat. Either way, it depends on how you want to ask that. So we'll discuss the why. So I have some stats just kind of break down the why, like why are we going to be focusing on first party data, some of the changes there. As I mentioned, the different parties datas and kind of define what those are, and then pick a winner. So again, with a rebrand to audience, like our main focus, and I mean, even over the years, I feel like it's been just the nature of who we are and what we are doing. We want to grow, enrich, and activate your first party data. Now, whether or not that data is going to be directly for you yourself or data that's being collected and utilized with advertisers and partnerships. So one second here. Yep, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Kind of the stats that we've collected over the years kind of speak for themselves that first party data is and will be, especially with the depreciation of cookies, cooking browsers and whatnot, this is going to be more and more of a focus for businesses. And you'll be surprised that a majority of businesses haven't really haven't maybe done necessarily a good job, or they may not feel like they are where they want to be when it comes to understanding their audience and the first party data that they've collected. So I want to talk about the why. So stats kind of speak for themselves, just to kind of give, this is a perspective for, again, your advertiser or partner, giving kind of a perspective of what they're dealing with as they are working directly with consumers or viewers, listeners that you may be interacting with. But this is something I think we can all put, ourselves in this position and view that, 71% of consumers feel frustrated when shopping experience is impersonal. You're being sent things that just definitely are not, of interest to you. Say you are a really outdoorsy person. You're not really a homebody, but you're getting ads for, a love sack or like a gaming PC or something like that. It just does not fit, your interests or desires. Kind of just those things get annoying. I know I've been served ads or some type of marketing where it just doesn't seem relevant to me. So that's, the idea of first party data is fine tuning it and becoming relevant. So 70% of millennials are frustrated with brands sending, again, irrelevant emails. I think we can all agree that the amount of emails that we get are just wild. And then let's see, looking into our chat, it looks like our chat is getting fixed here, everyone. So we'll be able to share that link. Sorry, one second here. Going to share that link again, make sure that it's there. Okay. Anyway, so 91% of consumers say they're more likely to shop with brands that provide offers and recommendations that are relevant to them. I know again, personal experience that when I receive offers or brands or a 20% off coupon from my email, I am definitely participating in that, especially with the brands that I regularly shop with, or even newer brands that I want to shop with, but maybe they are a little bit more expensive. I'll give you a real world example. Here in Utah, we have there's a company that sends out emails. They're called Minky Couture. They are really, really amazing blankets, but they are really, really expensive. Super, super expensive. So I'm always looking for those like 50% off, 60% off coupons, going to buy some blankets for Christmas, for my family. And just that gives you kind of an idea of like, really utilizing your first party data to build out campaigns. In your perspective, whether it's for your marketing materials yourself for stations, or your advertisers that you're building campaigns for, they all have different goals in mind. And through our platform, you're able to execute those goals. So 80% of consumers are more likely to purchase from a brand that provides personalized experience. I mean, that kind of summarizes what we just kind of discussed about. That's 100% true, I would say. And the 90% of consumers are willing to share personal behavioral data with companies for a cheaper and easier experience. If you've sat in on our trainings in the past, when we talk about confirmation emails or step 4, within majority of our applications, we are always encouraging some type of call to action, whether it's a discount, coupon or discount code, or having individuals, or trying to persuade them to come to a location for special offers to save money, because inflation's real. Everyone's trying to save as much as they can, and with these type of offerings, it helps drive that type of engagement. One second. Okay, so let's jump right into first party data. I really want to define what first party data is. First party data is data that your company is collecting directly from your audience and owns. So it is definitely considered to be one of the best form of data, because it's the grassroots, it's the absolute details of the users. You're not just getting a first name and an email address. It's going past that. As you look to build out different promotions, this is, what I'm about to say is very specific to like TV and radio. Make sure that on your promotions that you have multiple opt-ins, which allows you to have that security and staying within policy, so that you can collect first party data for your station. Again, whether it's TV, radio, or for yourself, as well as an opt-in for your advertiser and partners. So that way you can legally pass that information to them, and they can utilize that. And that's actually brings to a point where there's first party data and second party data. And if you fall within that category where you are collecting first party data and passing it to a partner, that actually falls into the second party data. And they are so close. And this might be the first time you've ever heard of second party data, because the conversation usually teeters between first party and third party. Well, there is a second party, and that's usually in the case that I just described, where you are passing first party data to a partner advertiser that, a promotion specifically built around, and you're working together on that. Now, again, brands may use first party data to understand the customer's life cycle. Now, this is going to be where collecting first party data really helps analyze the journey of their customer. It takes from learning about their current brand, whether it's making a purchase, and finally telling more information about that individual itself. They can then take that information and go and improve the buying experience, right? So they identify areas in which experiences require some improvement, and maybe they see that part of what they are, selling or trying to do, whether, for example, I know we have a lot of like Black Friday, Black Friday's coming up. So a lot of promotions could be tied to mom and pop stores, whether it's like a furniture store. Really helps give them a better understanding of what their customers are, and analyzing that data for them, which helps bring in a greater return on investment, right? So it allows them to develop new products and categories as they fine tune that data and get a better understanding. And then they will be able to take that information that you collect, that first party data, email addresses, for example, and retarget those customers. They can get a very specific campaign, marketing campaign, which in turn actually saves them a lot of time, a lot of money, and helps generate that revenue. So there's really I like to kind of think of this as like a Swiss Army knife of things that you're able to achieve for them. And it helps them even to break into new different markets, right? So based on the data that's being collected, they're able to pinpoint other demographics and maybe even geographical locations, depending on what they're utilizing, whether it's zip code and understanding, who's purchasing, or whatever their conversion is, being able to execute it in that way. And then they can kind of fine tune with the information that's being collected, fine tune some different marketing strategies to execute. So all of these are extremely important. And again, kind of goes back to understanding the message for today, whether it pertains to, your stations directly on how you are wanting to utilize first party data. But since we're talking more of the sell side of things, how do you have this conversation with your advertisers and partners? And what I'm hoping for is that you take the information that we're discussing, and internalize it so that when you have the conversation that you appear as the expert that you truly are, right? You know so much in the combination of on air and digital, you're able to really represent and present them with a fully fledged out promotion that provides grassroots feedback and transparent data that they will then utilize for weeks to months to years to come, depending on how they utilize that information that's been collected. That conversation will help improve relationships just for the longevity of things. So that way it's not, you just sell a promotion for 4 to 6 weeks and then they move on, right? We want to try to get their business longer than that and try to keep them as a lifetime customer. So having these conversations even with current customers, and kind of changing the perspective, because they are very aware of first party data, they're very aware of third party data. And so as we come into the conversation on it, showing that you are able to do this within, honestly, a singular promotion. I'm kind of going to show an example of that here in just a second as well. 1 second here. Okay, so again, some examples where brands can collect first party data. So these are just different ways that brands are trying to collect data, whether it's customer feedback. So for example, like reviews on their website. I believe I saw a stat that said that consumers will see, they'll look up anywhere from 3 to 4 different reviews before purchasing a product. And I know for a fact that in my shoes, I like to review what people are seeing, whether it's looking for apparel items and want to make sure things fit direct, how they're supposed to, electronics, those type of things. Surveys, we're all familiar with surveys, CRM data, just collecting it from our CRMs, social media accounts, trying to grow those accounts and collect it from there, whether it's, Instagram, Facebook, you name it, TikTok, right? So subscription-based emails or products, again, different marketing campaigns. And I know, again, this is whether it's for the station itself or the account itself or your advertiser or partner, and then website, app, or product behavior analytics. Now that's where it will really grow. Like it will really be most helpful for them is to get a really good understanding of who their audience is and how to better engage with them marketing wise. And again, so here at the bottom, I said all in one. So imagine if we could, these are all different independent ways that advertisers and partners are trying to grow their first party data and collect it. Imagine if there was one way that you could do it all in one. And, shocking enough, there is, and that's through us. So this is crazy because as I was going through this information, realistically, you could build out a singular promotion. What I'm about to show you, I kind of showed a slide for a second there, is going to be really busy. And you obviously would like to simplify it a bit more, but you could really achieve all of this within one promotion, right? So jumping into it, immediately gathering, the first and foremost is understanding what your advertisers and partners goals are, right? So what is, when it comes to their data collection, are they wanting to grow certain avenues, right? Are they wanting to get more information about their users, like birthday, and do a birthday campaign where they're just trying to gather new information there? Are they trying to grow some of their social media platforms? As you can see here, we really excel in growing the demographic information is step 2, whether, passing just first and last name. We're gathering phone number, zip code, city, birthday, whatever you want to gather there, as well as being able to grow those social media aspects as well. If you've been on our previous digital sales trainings or have spoken with us, we do have a list of CRM integrations that we can send information that's being collected directly to that as they participate within the promotion. So growing those email lists that they can then utilize and build from. We can even go as far as I said earlier, even on a geolocation side of things. If you're working with an advertiser, say it's a car dealership that has multiple locations, and they want to see with users coming to those locations, if they're checking in at those locations and finding out, hey, this is a more popular area, or they're receiving more foot traffic in those ways. We even offer email confirmations, which have an extremely high open rate. I highly suggest that you consider utilizing our email confirmations. You're able to do different call to actions that your advertiser can then, again, be right in front of your viewers or listeners that are participating in these promotions. I've seen offers like, discount oil changes, or just simple QR codes or whatever, content is going to be tied into that email, turn into a huge success. So definitely suggest, if you haven't, doing email confirmations, tying that into a next promotion. A great way to gather, again, going past just like the demographic information and looking more at that lead generation, as mentioned, a really good way to collect first party data is through a survey. So again, utilizing our survey tool, it's an easy, first off, it's easy user interface for them to enter and walk through. We provided advanced analytics and reporting. So based on question and what they respond to, we are able to present that analytics so they can see kind of the transparent data. And that kind of helps them, again, go back to one of the first things that we discussed, which is whether they needed to develop new products or categories, or just to help improve their overall experience that their users are going through. You can do different question types and a variety of those. And you can even set it up where, depending on a response, they're called conditional response questions, but depending on what they say, for example, it says, are you planning on buying a property within the next 2 years? If they say no, you can have the survey immediately end. If they said yes, you could then provide them with an additional question, and so on and so forth. So it can really be, again, going back to a personalized experience. You can kind of create that where you are leading them down a funnel or sales type, or a funnel or a lead type to help generate that for your advertiser or partner. Because at the end of the day, if we know what they are wanting, what a golden lead or golden opportunity for them is, you're able to achieve that within a survey. Sean Quinn just shared that they had a great survey and for an HVAC company, and they had over 150 entries. So that's awesome, Sean. Thank you so much for sharing that. And realistically, it's those entries, but it's the information that is tied to the survey, right? It's not just a first name and last name, but it's all those details that go to the HVAC company, and HVAC can see, oh, right now people are more concerned for their heating element as they're getting into wintertime. I just today looked at my phone and I swear it said 5 degrees where we're at. And I was like, we're getting to that time. It doesn't feel like 5 degrees, but that was low. So yeah, it's a great way to generate, for that HVAC company. They now have that first party data that they can say, okay, this is real feedback. We can build from that, and they can move forward with different marketing materials. So again, when you are having these conversations, it's going to realistically set you apart from others who may be pitching to them, right? And that's the biggest thing is you're trying to win their business, and you'll all be educated enough, and you have all the information that you need to have those conversations. So, and if you ever had questions, you're more than willing to reach out to us, and we enjoy having the conversations on how to build this out to maybe fine tune maybe a promotion that would focus more on that first party data. Okay, moving on. So again, second party data, again, so this is data directly, it's data collected directly from consumer, and then sold to advertisers in same, in the same or similar verticals. So again, this is that gray area where, again, if you're TV, radio, you would probably fall into this, second party data where you are collecting the data, the first party data, and then passing on to your advertiser or partner, right? Big questions like, how do you leverage the data that you're collecting for yourself, right? For your business. One of the biggest things I suggest is like tagging the promotion. I know that is going to be one of the biggest things. So if you are able to tag a promotion, let's just say since I reference auto dealership, you tag a promotion that is auto dealership, and over the course of 4, 5, 6 promotions over the next year or so that run into auto, you could then go to a dealership and say, hey, we have immediately we have 2,000 people that we could immediately begin an email campaign with your promotion to help get information. And when somebody participates from the list that you've created, as long as they opt in to the new advertiser, you're then able to pass that data on. It's a way to engage and use and uplift what you currently have. And again, helps kind of define some of the easier sales tactics for you to have those conversations. Because if you go in to a partner and say, hey, we are able to immediately engage with X amount of people, that's going to grab their attention immediately. So, and that really brings me to a really big question. Like, are you using the data that you own for yourself? Like, are you doing, the marketing piece of it? And are you really trying to build and understand who's participating in your contest? So, as I just mentioned, the example is repeat customers in the same vertical. So I said, if you're tagging your promotion with auto, you really can kind of focus more on auto, become an expert there. But it doesn't need to be auto. It can be so many different ways or so many different vertical types that you're working with that you can really help grow business for yourself there as well. And again, second party data and first party data, they're so close together. Like, they are absolutely more reliable than third party data, which brings me to that, which is, collecting by a third party that has no direct relationship to a consumer, right? So we all know that. You go to a website and it said, hey, like the cookie browser, or in the past, you would just be cookied without even knowing. So it's like different cookies, pixels, aggregators as we just browse. It's not really specific, and usually it's just general categories of interest. So as I mentioned at the very beginning, and 70% of people, millennials would agree that they get annoyed or bugged when they are receiving marketing that just is not relevant to who they are. And if we all know, with the depreciation that's already begun, as we move towards, as we move towards that, it's being able to really step away from that. And again, a lot of these businesses that you will be speaking with, they might not have a good grasp on their first party data as you think they would. And having the conversation of starting now, if they haven't, right? Starting now and not waiting until this is completely gone and then they're really in trouble, to help kind of collect that. So I actually want to share a little tidbit from Shopify. So they actually did a poll and did some research. They actually said, so our research shows that 42% of brands plan to offer their customers product recommendations through tools and quizzes and custom mobile apps. So realistically, they have over 2.1 million active users daily, right? So many businesses and companies are built off that you are potentially speaking with, that are leaning towards what we've discussed on what that is accessible within our platform that you can offer. And then pertaining to depreciation, as data privacy becomes more and more of a hot button issue, third-party data will only just get worse, right? So first-party data, it's clean, it's generally immune to those data privacy repercussions, and really provides a clear line of sight to how people are actually, basically, how they're actually spending their money, right? And so for advertisers and partners that you're working with, that is going to be huge. The return on investment is going to be massive as you provide the data, and in turn, it's going to build a better and better relationship as they see that moving forward. And then again, like I said, the biggest thing is growing, enriching, activating your first party data. You can even say that to who you're working with, is your goal is to really activate that for them and help them grow their list, grow their campaigns, help them really fine tune it through these promotions that you are building and selling. So again, I hope that the message is loud and clear here, and the importance behind it as you have the conversations with your partners, that you're realistically able to kind of help grow and strengthen that relationship. So if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We are more than happy to discuss, and we like collaborating and building different ideas or talking about different scenarios and kind of role playing that with you to see what the best way is to have the conversation. So please feel free to either email us or chat in with our team. If you even need to call us, feel free to give us a call, and we can kind of go from there. So awesome. So that brings me to the last thing, and thank you again for everyone who has attended. I'm going to go ahead and pick a winner for today's webinar.